Meeting to order. Calling the meeting to order at 7:03. And as our practice, we have been standing for invocation and then remain standing for the pledge. And I have asked Reverend Susan Strain if she would do the invocation for us. And I thought maybe when we finish with the pledge, we could remain standing and have a moment of silence for some of those in our town that have just lost loved ones. The Gifford family lost a loved one, and Vito Pasquarella's family. And he was a World War II veteran. He was a prisoner of war, and he just passed away. So he was 96, and so we would like to remain standing just for a moment of silence after the pledge, if we would do that. Okay?
Loving and creating God, we pray for those of our community whose hearts are sad this night. And we pray for our leaders who are giving their time and talent. Increase in them wisdom and openness and understanding that serves the common good. In all government, may there be mutual respect and progress, the good not derailed by waiting for the perfect. And strengthen us all in our commitment to building a lively and welcoming community for all. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Okay. We'll start out with our section of privileges of the floor, but I was going to have Doug Thorpe take a minute or two and just reiterate what he had for us.
A couple of things. We had our first meeting of the Princetown Community Volunteers 2 weeks ago Monday. We had about 40 people from the community come, and we had every elected member of the town board there, and I appreciate all of you guys becoming involved with the Princetown Community Volunteers. So a couple things I just wanted to go over quick. There's 4 things that we did come up with. That's what I handed out. As a group, we talked about community outreach, and that was very important to me. Creating this whole thing was community outreach. It's the most important thing of creating this. So that's really where we're going to make an impact in the community, is the community outreach. And it just doesn't occur if you guys, the community comes to the meetings. It can occur just neighbor to neighbor. If you have a neighbor that needs help, walk over, help your neighbor. You don't have to be a member of our group to have an impact on their community outreach. We talked about the Princetown Town Hall, the state police, this whole area having a springtime, big time cleanup in May. And I came to Town Hall for about an hour and a half last week and went over everything. There's a lot of stuff that we can pick up, clean up, do. I've already reached out to a number of people. During our meeting, a number of committees were established. We established a committee for the spring cleanup. We established a committee for the Veterans Recognition Day. We're planning that sometime in May or in August on Veterans recognition. One real good part of the committees we formed, we had a bunch of youth come, young adults come to our first meeting and wanted to become involved. And they've already started working in different areas on bringing gold back to the school, having the school become involved in different areas. During our Veterans Recognition Day in August, we talked and rolled around the idea of a classic, including a classic car show, and maybe a classic tractor show for some of the people, farmers that live in the town, equipment, whatever, bringing the town people together. And then we also talked about sometime in the fall having an annual townwide harvest festival. Just 100 years ago, this town used to get together and just get to meet everybody in the whole town. So there's a lot of work that needs to go into that. If that comes to fruition, that's kind of in the distant on our radar, but these are the first 4 things that we did discuss at our meeting, and it really, really was nice to see, that many people come on a Monday night. Community outreach is important, and when I first came to Princetown 20 years ago, the first person I met was Kathy Hasbrook. She was the town clerk up in the old town hall. And just trying to find some information of the place I bought up in the north. And she was telling me that they were getting together a group of people to start a volunteer group to form and work on the Princetown Bicentennial. That was in 1997. Our bicentennial was in 1998. A whole bunch of us joined that group. Kathy Hasbrook introduced me to Irma from Massachusetts. I called her up, and since that day we've become friends for a long time. That first group were families, the Van Orts and the Giffords, the McLeans. We have generational families in this town. We have the Bradshaws, they're still here. The Kellys, the Giffords, the Gregs, multi-generational, the Maras, three generations of service to the town. But the community outreach is important to allow the younger people to become involved. And I have, over the 20 years, become somewhat of a history buff in our town. I really like our town. I got to know it pretty good, the people, the roads, and a lot of that had to do with Irma, because every time I had a question, I'd either call her, stop and see her, and she was just a wealth of knowledge, an unbelievable wealth. She was born in this town. So, help me along, Irma. Your great-great-grandparents were some of the earlier settlers of this town. The Rhinexes. Rhinex Corners Road was named after Irma's family. And she was born, Irma was born in this town. And so, Irma, I want to do a little something for you, Irma. Here, come on up here.
Yeah. I'll pick them up, that's all right. I'm okay.
Come on.
I don't want them to think I had too much.
No, you don't.
I like my catered home, that's all.
That's okay, you can just hold on. Okay, let me get something, hold on. So, the first thing that the Princetown Community Volunteers is dear to my heart, okay? A couple of things. Okay?
Ah, look at that.
Okay,
Oh,
Irma?
nice.
Come here.
Yes. Watch.
So Irma, on behalf of the Princetown Community Volunteers, this is a Lifetime
Oh, my
Achievement Award.
goodness.
Okay?
Wonderful.
To you, Irma Smith Westrian.
Yes, Smith, that's right. Thank you.
You are- Our town historian, for your lifelong commitment, dedication, and service to the people of the town of Princetown today, the 8th day of March, 2016, okay? You have so much knowledge. There's going to be no one else that ever will have as much town knowledge as you.
Well,
She has written a number of books and papers, and just an unbelievable amount of knowledge this woman has. And I felt compelled to thank you in this town.
well, that's nice.
Okay, really.
But
I will say one more thing.
Yes.
This plaque, I'm gonna bolt on the walls of Town Hall,
Oh,
okay? This here is for you, to bring home with you.
oh,
But
thank you.
this we're gonna put on the Town Hall, okay?
All
For all
right.
time, and it'll
Oh,
be there
God.
forever,
I
okay?
don't know how long I'll be around to look at it, but. You know, I just want to say, I was looking at Doug. It was Doug's father who appointed me. He was supervisor, and he appointed me in, get this, 1976. And I was historian all those, so I figured it was time to get some new blood. And Bill Buell from the Gazette called me, and he said, because I look for a replacement. And nobody wanted it. Young people don't want it. Old people got all their social life, no. So Bill Buell called me, and he said, I think I've got a replacement for you. So he found Robert. And so Robert walked, and I can imagine him walking in the room and say, oh my God, what's all this? I don't know, but he's doing a good job.
Yes.
So I thought we needed, the first thing he did was take my typewriter out of there. Anyway, so that's it.
Well,
Thanks, Doug.
thank you, Irma,
Thank
thank
you.
you. You will be known for all time, Irma. Okay? Our next meeting on Princetown Community Volunteers is next Monday night. I hope all can attend. We still have a lot to discuss and a lot to, to go over, so I appreciate everybody's time. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah,
John.
bolt
Yeah.
that to the wall.
Going on the wall.
Thank you, Doug.
I just want to pass it on, you can read it.
Jim Bavoli, Vernon Drive. Actually, I should wait and do this later in the meeting, but I've got a wake to go to, so I got to do this at the privilege of the floor, I'm sorry. I have distributed copies of the Princetown newsletter that is edited up to this point for your approval, so if you do decide to approve this tonight, hopefully I want to get this out before the recycling day. The town people really rely on this information, so hopefully we can get it squared away. And if there's anybody else that has anything they would like to add to the newsletter, by all means, you can get a hold of me. You can send me an email. I'll try to get it in. I've got probably another couple of weeks, and then I've got to just close things off and get things wired and printed and mailed. So the other thing is the computers, just a real quick update. It looks like now we're going to require less computers than we originally thought, so that's good news. Hopefully we'll get that squared away in the next month or two and have Omnis come and replace some of the older computers. The problem is we're using software that is not going to be supported continually. Windows 7, it will be supported for a short time, but if we really want to get things squared away so we don't have to do this in a hurry if they stop supporting Windows 7. So we'll get that done, and again, I apologize for doing this a little out of order. And anybody that wants to do this, jpav777@gmail.com, just send me an email. I'll try and get it in. You got about a couple of weeks, max.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay, anyone else for privileges of the floor?
I have a question, Bob.
Yes,
A
Lisa?
couple of questions. I had, back in, I think it was February, I had asked about the news feed or security feed or whatever you want to call it, that was being utilized and wanted to find out more about it. The audio feed, who's monitoring that? How did that all kind of come to be? I had asked back in October when Mike Joyce was here, and I really didn't get any answers completely. We had talked about it, and I mentioned that, you know, it's a conflict of interest to have this feed going into Judge Miller's office. If it's something that's a continual 24-hour feed, who's monitoring that? And who determines, if it's not 24 hours, then who determines when that feed starts? Is it, you know, during town board meetings as well? Is it during planning board meetings? Is it, you know, for any activity or events that are here? Or is it during, before, after, and during court proceedings? What was the purpose? If it was security, then wouldn't it be monitored by a security company? It would be going to Judge Miller's office. What is the point of it going there? How was it purchased? Did the town pay for that? Was it grant money?
That was, it was all purchased through the court, okay? And I have looked into some of what that request has been. Now, they do have a monitor in the court clerk's office. Now, just why it's there, I'm not sure. And they do have another part of the apparatus in the back office, okay?
In Judge
And-
Miller's office?
Correct. And I was asking questions the other night. It's primarily for court, you know, due to this day and age we live in, you know, just to be careful, whatever might transpire, might happen, but just give me a minute. And I did ask if it was audio, okay? He did say they can get audio from the videos. Now, just where it goes to, when it's used, I didn't get into all of that. In fact, Judge Miller was supposed to be here tonight. I had asked him to give us his take on the situation with our court as it is now. And he was here earlier, but I don't see him here as of now. So I was going to have him speak to the board as he was explaining it to me, you know, and for the public.
I would think that would be some legal issues involved here. I mean, if he's gonna use it during court, that's a conflict.
I mean, there's no conflict if it's for security purposes while he's here at court. It's just for surveillance for security. I mean, if it's monitoring the grounds and
But who's
crime
gonna
is-
monitor it? If he's sitting out here, who's watching it in there?
Well, I don't know that anybody would need to watch it if it's recording. I assume it's recording what happens. Yeah, so it's probably recording it just in case something happens, they go back and look at it. And I don't even know offhand where it's recording, if it's in this room or if it's outside.
Well, there's cameras here, there's cameras in the lobby and outside.
They're IP adjustable cameras, and you can pull it up on any device, even your smartphone.
Yeah, and
I
I don't know.
ran a security company for 14 years, so.
I mean, I don't think there's any requirement that somebody be monitoring at all times, it's probably just
Well,
recording.
it'll record a certain amount over, and it can be motion activated, and it'll start recording. Obviously, if there's nothing going on at night, it's not going to record. But the audio, I think, is a concern that Lisa's bringing up, because with court proceedings, there are certain things that take place during court that should not be audio. And
Well, I mean,
people have to have the right to know that they're being, you know.
I would agree with you there, but I mean, that court's open to the public, so I mean, I'm not
That's
sure
correct.
the audio
Yeah.
would be a problem.
But there's certain things that go into chambers that are supposed to be behind.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this being monitored right now?
Well, the video is on even during the daytime. So I would assume, unless they shut it off when they leave, I don't know that.
Well, if it's a continual feed, then it,
But when people come in the daytime, you can see it on the monitor, who's coming in, who's, you know, so it is other than
and there
court.
again, I mean, he's not here every day, all day.
Right.
So
But for
To
him
me,
to
it
have,
seems like pointless, and it's, I don't know, I kind of have big concerns that this is in his office.
Mhm.
You know, if it needs to be monitored during the day, then, and it's for security purposes, then why isn't there a security company monitoring what's going on here then?
I understand the concerns, and like I said, I had asked Judge Miller if he would be here tonight. He was here earlier. I'm sorry, I don't know where he's at now, but he was supposed to be here to address, some of the issues.
so he has exclusive administrative rights by having that in his office, and none of you have usernames and passwords and can view any video at your leisure.
We don't. no.
So it's only him. And who elected him to do that?
That's the court. He purchased it through the court. As
Through
far as
town
I know.
money or through grant money?
It may have been, I'd be honest with you, Lisa, I don't know that. It wasn't through the town. He got that through the court system.
No, the town paid.
Was it the town? had? Okay, then that was something that he had worked out with, the court administration.
And I know generally if it's through a grant, when filling out that grant application, you have to include what the intent is for, what the use is for. So what was it on there? I mean, can we see a copy of that, or,
We can check into it.
what was the cost of that, or, and at this point, is it gonna get out of his hands and put into the proper hands of a security company?
We can check into it. I can't tell you at this moment, but I will look into it.
The conflict issue we discussed was if a crime is committed and he's observing and then he's the judge, that would seem to be an issue to me.
And even after the fact, if he's out here and something goes on and he views it after court is over, and there was a crime committed, now it's gonna come before him again anyway. So
That's a problem.
it's a huge problem.
I believe this was purchased last year, was it not? Did we get it? Was
Year
it
before, I think.
year before?
Oh, no, 2002.
Yeah, so it was,
I read it.
but I'll check into it.
And just one question, Bob. Does he have the ability to edit that tape, or do you know if he has?
Again, I was hoping he would be here to explain, because he was trying to explain it to me, and I asked him specifically if he would come and explain it to the board so that because I know there's been concern that the board didn't even really know what was, the components in there, so. But
So Bob, with him only having he's the only one that has access. I mean, don't you think that should be a little more out of his hands? And
we can look
board
into it.
members should also have access to that? It shouldn't be
Well-
exclusive to him?
It has been considered as far as with our computer people, taking and making that so it's on other monitors. Now, whether that's gonna be a good thing or not, but it has been discussed as far as having it, maybe in my office, on my monitor,
The
2
way
or
the
3
DNS
different
is set
places.
up on that, you can pull it up on any device. It could be on any monitor. There is a DNS that's set up for that. And it's a specific website, whatever they decided to name it. It's an IP address, and you can name it, court.princetown. Whatever.
Okay,
And you can just bring that up. It's an app you can install free on your phone.
okay.
Available to the public, is that?
Well, if you have an admin
Admin rights?
username and password for it.
Okay.
Yeah, but the person who set up the cameras would have given that instruction to the admin, and it clearly is only one person right now that has control over that, from what I'm gathering with this conversation.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I used to do it for a living, so.
I can tell.
Yeah. So-
Okay, we will look into that and see if we can get you some answers at our next meeting, if not sooner.
I think it's more important to just get it out of his office and get it into the proper hands.
We'll look into that. Anyone else have any concerns while we're still the privilege of the floor. Okay, well, we'll close privileges of the floor at 7:28. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with some of our department head reports. Art, do you have anything for us tonight?
No, it's been quiet all winter. Knock on wood.
Okay.
Everything is running fine, no complaints.
All right. All right. Well, that's what we'd like to hear. We'd like to hear that. Okay. Darla, you have anything for us?
I have a couple odds and ends.
Okay.
Early on in February, I got called about a stray husky running down Chinese Corners Road. Turns out the dog was returned home after I recognized a photo of belonging to someone who lives nearby, but in a different municipality. So it was returned pretty quickly. The social network is really helpful in a situation like this where everybody gets the blast, everybody gets the photos, and I never had to leave my desk. It was really kind of great. A cane Corso was abandoned at a private property here in Princetown a few weeks ago. Abandoned with a large bag of food. And it was a little bit of a challenge to corral and to secure. But the dog has been secured, taken to a facility, and we'll have a temperament evaluation to determine the severity of whatever issues are there. And I believe there has been some interest in having her rehabilitated and adopted out by some cane Corso lovers in the area. And in doing that, I did determine that at least one piece of my equipment is not functional. So I have put in a request, as you know, for some updated equipment, about $350 or so. I also attended a shelter dog training for a total of 20 hours during January and February. The class is comprised of a handful of shelter people, shelter workers and volunteers who are interested in learning more about how natural dog training works, being able to read and connect with any dog that I come in contact with. And all any dog wants to do is to move. And this is especially true of a frightened, scared, aggressive dog. And when a dog can't move, the likelihood that he will bite you or me as a DCO is increased. So and what I'm learning in training is to read the body language and to understand what's going on, to protect the private homeowners, myself, and the dog as well. It's gone really, really well. It's incredibly fascinating, and I will be continuing this on my own over the next few months as well. There is an additional training coming up in May, sponsored by the Guilderland Shelter and New York State Ag and Markets. And some of it is some things that we've covered in the past, our roles and responsibilities as RDCOs, talking about an enumeration program, which we did here 3 years ago, equipment checklist, what we should have, how to use it, what situations would be best to use them, dog behavioral assessments, an open discussion among my peers as to what we've done in the past, what worked, what didn't, and just kind of brainstorm and see how we can make things better. And also preparing a dangerous dog case. I know there are more towns and cities around here who have way more than I do, but I've had more than my share, I think. The 2016 rabies clinic schedule has been distributed. It is on the county website. It is on the town dog control website. It's also posted at the town clerk's office. The first one was last Saturday in Rotterdam. I'm sorry that you all missed it. The next one is in June June 11th at Schenectady Central Park Pavilion, 10 to 11 for cats, and 11 to 12 for dogs. Make sure everyone is secured. Secured is not in a cardboard box necessarily. Secured is something with a latch, something that can prevent the cat from getting out. And if you have a current rabies certificate, bring it with you. But clinic is free for county residents, although they do appreciate donations. And the one here for Princetown, normally in October, will be held at the firehouse because it's just been so long. So we're moving to Slaughter Hill in October, just as an FYI, and as a new venue for them, but they've outgrown town hall. That's it.
Okay. While we're on this, Darla, if I could, just address the board. Just to get things cleared up on this. On the timesheet, I was looking that was emailed here. Just the ACO, DCO training for Glenville, is that the same training that you just were talking about, or is that something new?
It's the one I just described.
So that's all part of the
That's
shelter
all part
training?
of the ACO DCO is one that's sponsored by Gilderland and Ag Markets.
Okay. All right, so then what I need to know from the board is Darla has submitted for the time. Okay, the 3 or 4 other municipalities have agreed to pay their share of the $500 cost of the training at $125 a piece. We just were a little concerned about the extra hours, but if I guess Darla has, in talking with her, has indicated that she will be paying the rest of the course herself for the next 2 months. And so what I need to know from the board is, do we want to, or are we going to cover the first 20 hours of the training? And part of that comes to $342.60, and part of that is the $125 share of the course itself. So, I didn't sign the timesheets because, again, I wasn't going to make the final decision on, because we had discussion at one of our other meetings prior to this, and there was some concern from the board as to whether or not they wanted to pay the hours on Princetown's nickel. So I held off on signing it, so I'm looking for direction from the board what they would like me to do.
How much is the rest of the towns contributing towards the training?
Well, each town is going to do the 125.
I know that. What about the time spent?
Glenville and Princetown's the only ones that pay hourly, the others are salary.
So they're not paying anything extra?
Glenville is paying $361.10, just a bit more than what our share is. And the other 2 are salary, and I don't know what the salaries are.
Well, why should we be paying the full amount? That's certainly not fair to the town of Princetown. And DeWaynesburg and, what is it? Delancey. They're only paying $125 and we have to pay $360, was it?
Well, ours is $342.60.
$342? I don't think that's right.
$361 from Glenville.
How many calls do you get in Delancey and Waynesburg?
It varies. Sometimes 1 or 2 calls a month. And in summertime, it's a little bit more busy.
And what about Princetown?
Princetown is, I have more calls where I respond either by phone or email or on some occasions text. I don't always have to respond in person. There's a lot going on that I do that I don't even put down on the timesheet, but honestly.
You sent an email that you want to go for training in Gilderland for 2 days. How is that going to be split up between the other towns?
It isn't. It's being paid for by the town of Glendale.
The whole training?
Yes.
So it's not going to cost the town of
No.
Princetown?
No, but you'll benefit.
Pardon?
You will certainly benefit from my training.
Yeah, I know, but is it gonna cost the town of Princetown?
I just said no.
Doug, you have anything?
No.
Tom, your feelings?
Does it lead to a certification sometime, or is it a value added, or is it?
It's a value
just-
added among all those towns that I work for. There is no certification in what I do necessarily unless I wanted to become a peace officer in New York State, in which case this position doesn't require that level of certification. It's really outside the scope of my job. But it is certainly a value added.
And then how the amounts were divided up. How did, let's say, Lansing come up with a $100 contribution and Waynesburg come up with $125?
You know, I believe that Delancey was, in fact, I know Delancey was very supportive in me attending training. In fact, they made it a resolution to include training in my budget going forward after they allotted and they allocated that this year. Duanesburg is the one who initially asked, well, okay, we could pay for the class, but who else is kicking in money? Which precipitated my conversation with Mr. Myers, and now this circle that we keep going around and around about the hours being paid. Where that number came from, I can't even remember.
Well, I understand that the course itself was $500. So each municipality was going to take their share with 4 of them and pay the $125. Now, Delancey, I did receive, or I did read where they were going to pay the $100 and upon the completion, they were going to reimburse the $25.
Well, they are
On
going
their
to
share.
reimburse me $100 because I paid for it.
Yes.
The same
and
thing
then
with Waynesburg. Each month was $125 for me to be in class.
Right.
And that continues to be the case, including March and April. For March and April, I will be continuing on my dime and on my time. So, although that doesn't appear there on the form or, in the summary, I think that's worthwhile. And you will still receive the benefit of my training during that time.
I'm not opposed to all, to your training, Darla, per se. My concern is with the budget, okay? And the town has always been okay with training for the different departments. Just last year, we did go over, I think, on the budget line, $600 to $800.
I think it was about 2.
Well, anyway, in the figures that I saw. And that's my concern out of your supply line, if we're already into just quarter of the year, that's my concern as far as watching our budget, and I think we all department heads, we need to be watching our budgets, a lot more careful, because our revenues are down, and we can't just go to the bank and just pull from it and say, hey, there, we're gonna replenish your supply line. It's not just that
Unfortunately,
easy.
the revenues for dog licensing have increased for 3 years.
Okay.
Each year, the projections for those have increased, exceeded their expectation 3 years running since I did the enumeration.
Mhm.
And that is what is offsetting all of, not part of my salary. Just, dog licensing isn't ever intended to be a moneymaker for the town. It is to offset dog population control as well as dog and law enforcement.
And will we project the quote-unquote revenue income from dog licensing for this year? Do you know offhand?
I can tell
Round figure.
I can tell you it's around 2,000. It's around 2,000, if I'm not mistaken.
So you said around 2,000?
I believe it's around 2,000, yes.
I have a question on the stray dog that was on Curry Bush. There were 7 hours worth of that. Had training been done already, I think that would have been down a lot less if the equipment that she had was working. And, she had had the training. So So I think that would have offset, so I think a lot of these, it wouldn't have taken me this so long. You know, once she has the training, I don't find a problem really with paying for the hours. Especially if she's going to be going for it, you know, doing them on her own.
So there was actually 7 hours and then another 5 hours on that same situation?
The same one, it was follow up the following day, yes.
Okay. Well, I'm open for what the board would like to do with this. I guess I would kind of,
342 we're talking?
we're talking 342, and that's the one, that's our share of the training, and then comes out to about 30%, 36% of the total.
Should be split up with the other towns, Delanson and Duanesburg. We should be covering the full cost of that. It's my opinion.
But if she's salary on those, you know, that's what they budget, I think then maybe we should go for it and then give her to the budget line for training and specify what it is, or put her salary in it instead of an hourly.
The training wasn't approved by the town. Should have been approved by the town before she went to it.
Well, based on past practice, I've not had to do that. Every year that I've been in this position, the last 5 where I've attended class, I've not gotten a phone call. No one has ever pulled my paycheck and asked me, geez, this training wasn't approved, I'm sorry, we're not gonna pay that for you. This is sort of an anomaly to me. I was very surprised that the board paid this much attention to it, quite frankly. And although I do appreciate you taking the time to mind the budget, I think it's just too, you can't compare Duanesburg and Delanson to Princetown and Glenville as far as what they're paying out. They're already paying. They're apples and oranges. You still receive the benefit of all the training I've had, and you haven't paid for it every year either. I'm just not quite sure where the penny pinching is coming from, $350. Quite honestly, it's in my budget. It's there. You didn't approve the training, but training is training. I've not needed that before.
Again, I'm not, you know, the training is one thing, Darla. I am concerned, we do have a policy and procedure, you know, in place. Our procurement policy, even as far as equipment, between $300 and $500 needs 2 board members to sign off on it. So whether it was used in the past years or not.
I haven't purchased anything.
No, but I'm just saying, that is the policy.
I understand.
And so, you know, we do have policy and procedures that we should be following. Otherwise, we could have all our departments just going and spending their supply lines and we know nothing about it. So that is a concern, and I would like to see us get back to, you know, sticking with our policies and procedures.
Is there a central location where all of those policies are located? I looked for one, I can't find one.
You mean our procurement policy?
Not just that one, all of our employee policies, our purchasing policy, everything, all the rules we're supposed to follow. Do you have them listed somewhere?
Would that be in your office, Sandy, or you know where that
We
would
just redid the procurement policy on the organizational meeting.
But you sum up all the policies of town.
I've read the procurement policy, I'm familiar with it, which is why I've sent you the request for purchase. I'm looking for 2 signatures. Whether I find it, I don't know.
Okay, so that's, with that being said, does the board want me to pay the time sheet? And there's actually other hours for the actual actual work through the month of February. And And it's just a total of $429.84 on that. That's with the work of the DCO plus the training. So, do you have any other concerns? Ready to vote on it?
I think it's cool.
Okay. All right. We have a motion to pay the check for the month of February of $429.84. That's including the training.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Do I have a second? Okay, no second? So what be your pleasure?
I gave you my comments over here. I think it should be split up with the other two towns. Can't compare ourselves with Glenville. I got 40,000 or 50,000 plus people in that town.
Okay,
She's
so we
certainly
have a,
paying a little bit extra for what's done. We just don't have these kind of problems over here. I
Okay,
don't
so-
understand why we have to foot the whole bill for the training. And they're only paying for the course. Doesn't make any sense to me. If they want to split it up with the other two towns, that's fine. I think we should contact them and see if they want to split up the training with the three towns. That's my opinion on it.
okay, so the part that's in question is the 20 hours. Each town is willing to pay the 125. The 20 hours is the sticking point. So what part of those hours would you like
It should be
to?
split up, shouldn't it, between the three towns?
Okay, Glenville's paying their share already. So then you're looking at Duanesburg, Delanson, and Princetown.
That's my opinion. I'm only one person here.
How's the rest of the board feel?
Generally speaking, what are you paid in Princetown?
$17.13
What is
per
that?
hour for the last 5 years.
Okay, and annually, what is that going to be, round figure?
My budget for my salary, which has gone down from $6,000, it's now at $2,700.
Okay, and then Duanesburg is,
Higher than that, but since it's public information, it's about just under 9,000 salary.
all right. And Delanson,
$600 a year.
I can understand Lou's point. However, when we look at the actual figure, we are deliberating, I can't say excessively, but I think the training is worth it. When is this training held? We don't want to prolong this process.
I appreciate that. It's being held at a local training facility in Rotterdam. It's done, it's hands-on, it's with shelter dogs. We work with the dogs directly. It's, like I said, it's incredibly fascinating. It's very, very informational, and it will, when I'm finished, I won't ever be finished, but.
Oh, is it
the next-
going on right now?
Yeah. Yes, it's continuing on as long as there's interest in enrollment.
Lou, would you propose that we negotiate with Duanesburg to split up the cost somewhat, or?
Yeah, I thought that's the fair way to do it, but, it depends what the rest of the board wants to do. My concern is that we're paying more than they are.
I mean,
Can't compare us with Glenville. Like I said, they got, I don't know, 40, 50,000 people in their town. We've got 2,200.
Just thinking out loud, would this reduce the liability, insurance liability money? Has anybody ever brought that up?
That was my original intent, is to protect the dog, protect the homeowners, protect the public at large, and the
Protect
dog.
the town as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
It's a safety issue, understanding the dogs, being more familiar and more comfortable with them, and avoiding any injury by passersby, anyone, including myself. I don't want to be bitten.
In other words, I wouldn't like to see her not take advantage of the opportunity this training. I mean, I understand Lou's point, but I think I'd like to go forward, and I'd probably go forward.
All right, Doug, you have anything? Okay, so then the board is okay then with us signing off, and as Darla's indicated. Now, I would like to just mention, at our last meeting when it was discussed, I was waiting to hear as far as if you were gonna check with Glenville. I just got the information in regards to Glenville just within the last couple of days, so I
You got the
apologize for that.
information because
Yeah.
I didn't receive my monthly paycheck
Right.
on the 1st of March.
Right.
That's what precipitated this. Correct.
So that was, we were waiting on Glenville. Okay. If the board is all okay with me signing off on the check, we'll do that. Do we need a motion for that? We have a motion on the floor. Will we have a second?
I guess I'll have a second.
Okay, Tom? Sandy? You roll?
Councilman Gray,
Yes.
Councilman Esposito.
Yes.
Councilwoman Schaefer. Yes. Councilman Lavelle
Yes.
and Supervisor.
Yes. Okay. I have your check for you.
Can I have that this evening, do you think?
That should be possible. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Let's see, minutes, and take care of that, no other important here. Yes. Nick, you have anything for the highway department?
Yeah, well, Bob got together with me one morning last week, a couple of weeks ago, and we got together and made a meeting with Schenectady County, Joe Ryan, and it sounds real good. He's gonna help us all he can with putting his men to do things we wanna do, which is beautiful, at a reasonable price naturally, with a state-approved prices. He's gonna check with us on Katie Company with the roads and see, he was talking about maybe instead of putting chip seal and all that stuff on, he might be able to put 2 inches of topsoil, blacktop on it instead, which I like. So we're kicking a lot of stuff around like that. And it was very good to talk to him, he's a nice guy. Right, Bob?
Yes.
Bob was good. We got routed driving to work on, and the one road, the little run's gotta be paved, part of it. And some patch-up work. Another thing, I don't know, the chip seal, you checked on chip seal, right? You told me on the phone?
Yes.
You explain that better than I can?
Yes, I talked to New York State DOT today. They're waiting on the budget, April 1st approximately, and then we have till May 13th to get in what we would like to claim on from the CHIPS. And when I was talking with the gentleman today, there's CHIPS money from 2011, 2012 that is there for Princetown that hasn't been used. So from then till now, we may be able to recoup those number of years from what they explained to me. Yeah, and we have 9,900 as of now, and that may change after the new budget comes out. So we're looking forward to putting in, submitting for that, but that can't be done until after April 1st when the budget is approved. All right, Lou, you have something?
Yeah, it's the state police building over here. We just put new carpeting in and flooring in through the entire building. We did the heater in the garage. I think I mentioned that last time. That's per our lease agreement. These are all things that have to be done per our lease agreement. And we did the gutters. They're done. And after the gutters, I think that we're going to be replacing the remaining windows that was supposed to be done last year. We'll be getting prices on that. We installed carbon monoxide detectors in there. I think I mentioned that the last time. They're very pleased with what's going on. They sent me an email, the lease has been signed, so we're good for another 4 years and 8 months. So they're gonna be there for at least another 4 years and 8 months. I think I sent it to Gerard. As soon as the lease comes through, they'll be sending it to him for his approval, for the town board's approval. I talked with Angelo Santa Barbara's office. We applied for a grant to do the front doors. We already put the electrical in for it to make them handicapped accessible. We're waiting to hear back. I was told that they were going to approve it, but they have to wait till after April 1st. They're telling me that once it's approved, they were going to pay for the entire cost, but we have to wait for it to actually come through. So we're waiting on that, and that won't be until after the budget. But Angelo Santa Barbara's office is working on that, and I thank him for that too. The State DOT called me, and they're going to be redoing the culverts and cleaning the ditches out along Route 7 this spring. Apparently there's a problem with the water, the way it flows. I guess a lot of the culverts are plugged. And they informed me that that's going to be done sometime in early spring. I had people over to redo the fire alarm system in here and tie it in with to have it monitored. We need smoke alarm, and we need the carbon monoxide detectors in here. That's a state law now. They were in to redo the whole fire alarm system, and they haven't gotten back to me with a price on it yet. Apparently, we're going to have to look for somebody else very shortly if they don't come back with a price on it. Should have something by next month. The carbon monoxide detectors have to come in, but I want to tie them in with the whole fire alarm system so that we can have it monitored. As I've said before over here, nobody would even see a fire in this building if it should occur in the middle of the night. So that should be done. Other than that, I don't have anything else. If anybody's got any suggestions on improving the approach to the town hall, I want to thank Doug Thorpe for putting this committee together to help to do this cleanup day around here. He's doing an excellent job. I'd just like to commend him on that. Thank you, Doug. And other than that, under councilman concerns later on, I have a few things I'd like to bring up.
Okay. That's it. And while you're giving thanks, Lou did paint the benches that are out front, so we thank him for that. So they look very nice.
I didn't do it. My wife did it.
They got done anyway. Okay. All right, Sandy, I'll let you take over from here for now.
It is hereby resolved that the meeting minutes of February 9th, 2016, regular meeting are approved or as amended.
You have a motion to accept that? Meeting minutes for February 9th meeting, yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Tom? We have a second?
I'll second.
Lou?
Councilman Gray,
Yes.
Councilman Liddell,
Yes.
Councilman Esposito,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schaefer, Supervisor Myers.
Yes.
It is hereby resolved that the town board approves abstract 3 claims number 32-260 in the amount of $30,323.32.
I have a motion. Accept the general fund claims. Lou? Do I have a second?
Second?
Tom?
Councilman Gray,
Yes.
Councilman Liddell,
Yes.
Councilman Esposito,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schaefer, Supervisor Myers.
Yes.
It is hereby resolved that the town board approves abstract 3 claims number 11-22 in the amount of $4,525.32.
with water claims.
We have a motion for the water fund claim. Lou? Doug?
Councilman Gray,
Yes.
Councilman Lavelle,
Yes.
Councilman Esposito,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schaefer, Supervisor Myers.
Yes.
Approval of Air Development Contractor for AT&T Mobility Corporation to allocate additional antennas, radio heads, and DC layouts to existing telecommunication facility at 572 Bonnie View Lane.
Okay, Sandy, before we go further with that, that's on the agenda for tonight, but there was some question as to whether we needed to have a public hearing, and we came to, in talking with legal counsel, they felt that we as a town should have a public hearing. So I was just going to address the board to see that they were okay with that. We may have to just table this for now and have a public hearing scheduled for our next meeting. Is that all right?
Fine with me.
Okay, then we'll table that and Sandy will have to schedule a public hearing for that, our April meeting.
Should have a motion to table and to authorize.
Okay, we have a motion for tabling this and to authorize the public hearing.
It's called the publication of the paper in 1,500 feet, maybe even 1,500 feet, which probably needs to be done by the code enforcement person. I think maybe you're appointed tonight, so.
So we can talk to him on that. Okay, do we have a motion to table this?
I'll make it.
Lou?
Councilman Gray,
Yes.
Councilman Lavelle,
Yes.
Councilman Esposito,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schaefer,
Yes.
and Supervisor Myers.
Yes.
Do we need a separate one for the public hearing, or we included it?
I was kind of including it all as one, but
Okay,
yeah.
just making sure. It is hereby resolved that Thomas, right?
Thomas Marini, yes, I'm sorry.
Is appointed as CEO for a term to expire 12/31/2016 at a pay rate of $24.66 per hour.
Well, 12/31 here. No, we didn't change. Okay, yeah, just back up a minute. Got the date in there, and I had talked to Carmen. There were some that were concerned about a probationary period, so we were looking at 6 months. So if we can change that date to 6 months from today's date, so March, September.
I'll read it again. It's hereby resolved that Thomas Verini is appointed as CEO for a term to expire 9/31/16 at a pay rate of $24.66 per hour.
This is it.
So, a motion?
September's only had 30 days.
Wait a minute here. This is for the code enforcement.
Yes.
We haven't even discussed it.
What do you want to discuss?
I was under the understanding that he's got a full-time job.
Right.
And is he gonna be able to do the inspections at night and do the office at night?
Well, to the best of my recollection, Doug, is when we interviewed him, he was gonna do it on his lunch hour, and then he would have office hours in the evening, and then Saturdays.
And I've also been told that after warm weather comes, he's not available on a weekend.
Okay.
Is that not what you said? I'm just asking you.
That's what's part of what was discussed with him, yes.
You said after warm weather comes, you've got a boat, you're in Sac and
I
Dog.
think maybe you folks need to get together before you call me in this forum and interview me again. We already been through this. So maybe you that folks should get together, and maybe when you get together, then you can call me back and we can, I had the interview.
I understand that.
Okay.
And you said that you work at Chalmont School driving a bus, you go to work at 9 in the morning, you get done at noon, you got an hour off, and then you go back from 1 till 5. Is that not what you said?
I had the interview with you.
Yes,
said,
I
do
know.
we have to do the interview all
But then after that, I heard that you talked to a certain person and said that,
You're putting the interview, I don't understand, I'm just trying.
okay, maybe I'm wrong, I'll keep my mouth shut.
No, I mean, you got concerns, Doug.
Do whatever you want to do.
Bob, you called me up, you offered me the position based on the
Well, we were going to
interview.
be discussing it.
I mean, I just assumed
voting
not
tonight.
have this conversation, I mean, if we could. I'm not comfortable, I kind of ambushed.
Well, I apologize for that.
I mean, maybe if you,
Any other board members have any concerns?
What is our attorney saying this? Do you have any,
Is there a specific question for me, or?
with the appointment of any suggestions on probationary period or the,
I mean, from a legal standpoint, it's up to you. I mean, my understanding, he has the certifications you're looking for, I think you want. But, it's up to you, who you want to hire. What period, probation period or not. There's no restrictions there. If you want to limit it, you're free to do whatever you like.
Main concern, you're certified, which we think is fantastic. Accessibility or availability to the town, and maybe extreme cases, would you be available on call besides a night at very extreme occasions?
of course, I made that clear that,
Yeah.
looking at your website, that your permit hours are 5:30 to 9 Tuesday nights, and that the inspections are by appointment. They would be calling me and making appointments, and of course, I would be available. And also that the inspections are, you have to give 24-hour notice, although there are some extreme situations. Other than that, well,
Based on reasonableness.
it's a matter of making it happen. You have to be there for the public, for the inspections. You certainly can't say no. However, I mean, typically, 24-hour notice and you set up the appointments, and that would be up to me. As far as my personal life and what I do, you could discuss that amongst yourself, but I'm not gonna do it.
Your personal life is not our concern. But availability is, and you agree that you can be available in cases.
It's a part-time job. I'm here to serve the town of Princetown for the CEO position. I'm a little confused.
All right, we ready to vote? All right, Sandy,
Councilman Gray? Oh, wait, I
No.
don't have a motion yet.
you make a motion? Then need a motion for appointing Tom Susan? Susan? We have a second? I'll second.
Gray,
No.
Councilman LaBelle,
Yes.
Councilman Esposito,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schaefer,
Yes.
Supervisor Myers.
Yes.
It is hereby resolved that Dave Sanders is appointed to a vacant position on the CPA for a term to expire
12/31/19.
12/31/19.
Sorry, I didn't put that in. You have a motion?
I'll make it.
Lou?
I'll second.
Councilman Gray,
Yes.
Councilman LaBelle,
Yes.
Councilman Esposito,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schaefer.
I didn't know there was a position open on that. I didn't know. I didn't know this was going to I didn't know who that is or.
He was one of the alternates.
Supervisor Myers.
Yes.
Adoption of Schenectady County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan Update. Whereas the town of Princetown, with the assistance of the Schenectady County Department of Economic Development and Planning, has gathered information and prepared the Schenectady County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan Update. And whereas the Schenectady County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan Update has been prepared in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. And whereas the town of Princetown is a local unit of government that has afforded the citizens an opportunity to comment and provide input in the plan and the actions in the plan. And whereas the town of Princetown has reviewed the plan and affirms that the plan will be updated no less than every 5 years. And therefore be it resolved by the town of Princetown Board that the town of Princetown adopts the Schenectady County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan Update as this jurisdiction's natural hazard mitigation plan and resolves to execute the actions in the plan.
Have a motion to accept this?
I'll make it.
Bill?
Second.
Councilman Gray,
Yes.
Councilman LaBelle,
Yes.
Councilman Esposito,
Yes.
Councilwoman Schaefer, Supervisor Myers.
Yes. Okay, so that brings us down to council member concerns or comments. And before anybody else gets started, there's one other thing that I wanted to, I didn't get a resolution on the agenda. So I received this just recently, within the last day or two. We have 4 other people that are interested in being on the comprehensive review plan, revision plan. And so I wanted to present them to the board as to appointing them. So with the resolution to appoint the recommendations of Chairwoman Melanie Weekly, we have Amy Holland, Jen Blessing, Ben Smith, and Jack White that are interested in serving on that committee. So I wanted to present that to the board.
Do we have to vote on that? I thought we said that it was up to Melanie to.
We'll just appoint, the board appointing.
There was a resolution allowing the chair to be appointed. I don't know. That was, I don't recall that being part of it. I mean, you could delegate that to the chair.
Didn't we discuss that?
If you did, I don't recall. I mean, it's possible.
Or that in the town law?
No, we did discuss it as far as her picking, you know.
Remembers.
Right.
That's what I thought it was left as, so.
I wasn't at the last meeting, so it's
Okay.
possible. to discuss
All right,
that.
so then we don't need any board action on that. That's right.
If that's It would be in the minutes as that was really discussed. I mean,
I just wanted to let the board know.
It was a resolution.
Yeah, there was a resolution that Melanie picks who she wants. I thought that's the way it went.
Yep, okay. All right, well, again, I just wanted to let everybody know that we do have 4 people that are interested, and so we'll go with those members, and they can get started. Sounds good. Okay, council member concerns. Doug, you have anything?
No.
Lou?
Yes, we discussed over here, we have a chance to bring the Vietnam Veterans War Memorial to the town of Princetown. It's called The Wall. It has the names of the 58,000 plus soldiers that were killed in Vietnam, along with the memorabilia of the war. They will come and set the wall up. We were talking about Carol McLean and Jim Cavoldi and his wife and myself and my wife have been discussing this, and they asked to go forward. I called got in contact with the director of the wall, and they have a date available from August 25th to the 28th. I've talked with them, and they have sent a contract. Is what we're looking at is trying to raise the money to deposit plus the remaining funds to bring it to the town. We discussed talking with all of the businesses in the area, including Rotterdam. I was in contact with the Gold Corporation today to speak with them about funding for this. And I think it'd be a real plus for the town to do this. I've talked with, I went to the wake for Vito Pasquarella, Tony, and the honor guard was there, the motorcycle group. They will escort the wall in the town. I offered to go pick up the trailer. It's going to be in Massachusetts. It's a 48 or 53 foot trailer. I've got pictures of it. My friend sent me the pictures of it. He was going to California, and he sent me the pictures of it. I've talked with him. This is going to be up to the town board. I gave the contract to our attorney. He's looked it over. We're not asking the town to put up the money for this. Is what we're asking is that the town has to sign, an entity has to sign the contract. We've talked about setting up a checking account to deposit the funds that we receive from the businesses or anybody that wanted to donate to it. And we're hoping that we can raise the funds. I'm quite confident we can. Carol has seemed quite confident that we can. If she'd like to say anything about it, she's been working on this too, and Jim is not here now. He is right, oh, there he is. Jim has wrote up a press release on it. I've talked with the Gazette today, and they want to do a press release on it. I don't know what the feelings of the board is, but Jim, if you want to say anything, or Carol, if you'd like to make any comments on it, we welcome it.
Well, we're just working on it now. I do have a press release that I'm going to send out to all the media if this gets approved. And once the media gets a hold of it, hopefully that'll generate a lot of interest and activity and donations to provide the funds to do it. I think the total cost, lock, stock, and barrel, is like $7,500. We do need a deposit of around $3,700, but you know, something like this would be supported because it's not just Princetown, but all our surrounding neighbors would probably participate in it. We have the room to put the wall up. I've seen photos of it. It's 250 feet long. It's a 50% or 1/2 replica of the original wall that's down in Washington, D.C. Typically, a lot of people who have lost loved ones in the Vietnam conflict come to visit the wall, particularly young people whose grandfathers, for instance, they may have never even met, and they come and they see the names and they touch the names. They can take an etching. It's a pretty moving thing. I think it would be wonderful for the entire Capital District. It would certainly, put Princetown on the map for a few days. I think it's 3 days that we're planning on having it here. Nothing is cast in stone yet, but this is all in the planning stage.
Carol, you got anything?
Yeah, I just think it's a great opportunity for a small town. I would never think that we would have this opportunity to bring that wall here. And, our Vietnam vets who are still with us are older, but family members who lost ones, as Jim said, to come and look at this wonderful, you can go online, actually anyone can go online, I think it's thewallthatheals.com. And it talks all about it actually becomes an educational center. The truck that brings the wall in, the wall is set up in panels, but inside students or anyone can go in and it's a whole learning, about the different conflicts and how did it start, and there's I think 1,012 pieces of memorabilia that over years loved ones have left to travel around with this educational center. So I think it's more than just names on a wall. It's a very teaching tool, and we can share it with Albany and Montgomery County and, not just Schenectady County, and let everyone know that it's here. And we have a great area out here. We have numerous places that it could go. And so I think we have a great setup for it. It's an opportunity for us, and I think it's very giving to our residents to remember this.
I've seen this wall in Missouri, and it was set up there. It's quite a thing to see, and it really is. And I think we have the opportunity to bring it here and to honor our vets. I can't see anything wrong with this. And if it's not going to cost the town, well, the problem is, like I said, we have to sign the contract, and we have to give the deposit, and it has to be done within the next week. Yes, they told me that it was last Monday, so we have 2 weeks to do this, and then the rest of it is due after when they come to set it up. We're going to need volunteers to help on this. It has to be monitored 24/7, and I've already talked with the state police, and they're going to help us out. I'm sure that the sheriff's department would help us out with security too. And I know the state police have said that they would help us out. And like I said, I've even offered to go pick up the trailer myself with my own truck, so to save some money with it. And I wouldn't charge the town anything for it, so, or just to save the money to do this. Like I said, we'd be escorted into town with it. The motorcycle group has already said that they would do this. They do this all over the country. I spoke with them about it, and there was only one date available, and that was August 25th to the 28th. It's going to be in Massachusetts. Then the following week, it's going to be going to Delaware. So, and then if we take it, it'll be here for the August 25th through the 28th. So I'm asking the town board if they want to sign the contract to bring it here, and then we'll work on the funding. We've talked about setting up a checking account so that we can reimburse the town as the funds come in. And I want to know what the town board thinks about it, if we want to go ahead with this.
I think it's great for our community, service to our vets, for respect regarding location, I-88, the Thruway. It's of regional interest. It puts a positive light on Princetown, and we haven't had that so much lately. I'm all for it. I think we could generate a lot of interest through businesses and fraternal organizations to raise monies. We can use our website for possible donations. I can see nothing but good things.
I think they already have this on their website, that it's going to be coming to Princetown, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you saw that or not, Carol.
Yeah,
I think-
I didn't, I'm
I
sorry.
think it's on their website that it's going to be here the 25th to the 28th, pending
Good.
signing of the contract.
And we've had some really positive feedback from just businesses in our community. We can't fundraise yet until you talk about it, but just so you know, people are very interested in being a part of this.
I have a couple of comments. So, on our first meeting is when the idea came up under community volunteers. I'm 100,000% behind the idea. I think it's great. I think it'd be great for the town. But there's a responsibility behind it, and I think it's a little bit more of a responsibility than, you know, our little community group. We don't have nearly the, you know, the organization or the funding. We would love to be a part of it, to be associated with bringing that in. I don't, you know, with our members, you know, only being a month old, I, you know, would promote us being included in the process. You know, if the town is going to do the sponsoring, I'm so in favor of it. I think it's a positive impact on the town. And, you know, us as a group who, you know, as we're formed, we would be very supportive of it. But I don't think us as a little group has the ability to meet the obligations of bringing such an endeavor into the town. So I think that's how it, you know, escalated into to having a responsible party, you know, pull it off, and I'm sure all of our members will support it. You know, I'm surely 100% behind it. So, you know, that's my comments. I think it's a great thing, and I think it's something that the town, you know, would be, you know, benefit is, you know, the people, and I just think, you know, I think it's a good idea.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
Well,
Any of our board members, Susan, you have thoughts on it? Okay. Well,
I'm a Vietnam veteran.
okay.
Where are you planning on putting it? I mean, it's
around the circle,
Oh, and you're going to
wrap all the way around, and we were thinking of, you know, just not the Vietnam vets, but all of the vets in Princetown. I think we talked about that.
I'll just make a comment that I think it was 97 or 98 that it was set up at Chalmont School.
Yeah, it was in the 90s.
Yeah, and they drew from halfway across the state, people that had never had the opportunity to go to Washington DC, and it was amazing to see how many people would come. The only concern I would throw out is, my understanding is it's also in 2 other places in the Capital District this year. Is that not true?
It's going to be, in Troy, and it's going to be in Montgomery County. I don't know if it's the
But
same.
it's not this one.
It's not.
It's a totally different,
Different.
smaller replica.
The smaller one.
This is not the big one that we're talking about.
Okay, 'cause
It's gonna be in Fulton, Montgomery, and it's gonna be.
Troy.
In Troy Waterfront.
Then it's-
And both of those dates are in
Okay.
September.
Then that's a different.
And that's in September, but that's a smaller,
Okay, this is the one that was.
this is
here
the
in
half
90s.
replica, which is.
They just redid the trailer. They just did a new wrap on it. Like I said, my friend sent me pictures of it. He was bringing it to California. He donates his truck on occasion when they can't get a trucking company to do it. And he took it to California. As a matter of fact, next week or the week after, he's taking it to the Louisville Truck Show. They asked him to bring it up there. And they set it up. They come and set it up. And they asked for volunteers, obviously, that, you know, but they were the ones who set it up, and the volunteers help out, you know, with it. So
Additional comment. So, under our first meeting, we discussed having the Veterans Recognition Day in and around that time, and, having the wall, in addition to having another, recognition ceremony of the veterans, marrying the two projects, or the two, ideas together. So it won't just be the wall that day, but it might be a ceremony of the veterans, honoring the veterans. So that was one of the things we discussed on veterans recognition, is to have, a celebration of the veterans, and the wall would surely, be the focal point of that day. And, we can have a smaller, thing somewhere around Town Hall that's part of it, so. I think the two would work really good together.
Totally out of order. But out at the gazebo, there's a plaque
Right.
that we brought down from the other town hall, and it's in recognition of all veterans from the beginning of our town who served and perished. So if we're gonna do this, could the town board look at that plaque and see if it could be refurbished?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring up one concern. If, worst case, I think this is a wonderful idea, I'm 100% on board, we're a very patriotic family. Some of you may know that we lost a loved one in the Iraq War, okay? I think it's wonderful to bring here, I think it's wonderful for children, for adults, for the vets, but where do we have $7,500 in our town budget if we do not raise the money to take it out of? Because our budget's tight, and my only concern, and not to be the other, but my only concern would be if you're gonna pass a resolution to sign this, that maybe you should make it contingent on raising at least half the funds in the next 2 weeks before you go ahead and do it, because we just had a whole discussion about going over on budgets and had a lot of issue with approving $300. This is a lot of money, and this isn't taking into consideration the security of it and all of those things that ultimately, with you signing the contract, will fall on the town. $8,000 is a lot of money. So I'm not saying that I'm not in agreement. I am. I will definitely contribute. That's not what I'm saying at all, but I just want to know what Plan B is if we do not raise the funds.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
All the funds associated under the contract, they have donation boxes that are attached to the wall. And those donations and funds go directly to that organization. So there is no funds that come back into the town to offset the cost of bringing it to the town. Okay, so all of the funding, any donations that come that day are owned solely by the entity putting on the wall.
Well, we have to lay out $7,500 for grant here, correct? That's what I'm talking. Huh?
$37.50 to deposit, and then at the end in August, if you have to pay the.
Right, so if we don't fundraise all of that, the town is gonna be liable to pay that. I'm on board with the whole thing, but let's.
That's why we have to get busy and raise the funds.
Well, let's make sure we can, make a limit that we're looking at least raising half of it, before we go ahead.
There is a possibility too that we could actually approach one of our senators to see if there is any funding available. We haven't done that yet because we haven't made any commitments, but there is a possibility that we could actually there may be grants available for this, is what I'm saying. So we can look into that pretty quickly. We're starting tomorrow.
Right,
We haven't done anything yet because we haven't just brought it up to the town board. The town board has to make the decision to sign the contract and we sign the contract, then you have, I think it's, am I correct, Gerard, that you have 2 weeks after that after the contract is signed? To pay the deposit or to
No, it's immediately upon execution. Yes, that's Monday, you said before. We have till Monday.
I don't know, I'm quite confident, just talking with, I know that probably Price Chopper and Gold will certainly contribute to this. I don't know how much, but they usually come through for the community, and they're right down the road here. So, like I say, we're gonna be talking with all the businesses in the area. We're gonna divide it up and start speaking with them for some contributions.
Melanie, you bring up a valid point. I can foresee that as the only risk. I think the risk is mitigated by the extent of the community that will apply to. But that is a valid point. Yeah, that was my first concern. But I think that the nature of the industry would be regional.
I agree. I'm not saying.
Yeah, no, but that's a valid point.
I think you might find regional interest in regional sponsorship through some gold sponsor type larger companies that we can approach, the town can approach, and try to offset the funding. And I think we have more of a valid position to reach out further, not just the town of Princetown, but further out to anybody and everybody who would like to, and maybe we can come up with some form of, signage or whatever to promote who's sponsoring it.
Well, that's it.
Corporate sponsors, right. So it's between now and then. I feel that the community will step up and open their wallets. But I think the corporate world has to more. We're going to end up getting more money individually through corporate donations than personal donations.
Probably between Delisi's Warehousing Corporation and Gold, they'll probably contribute quite a bit.
See if the casino wants. See if the casino wants to sponsor.
And we do have things in place to start. I mean, we've got actually our press release ready to go. Once that starts, what happens is then you get one media feeding on the, another, and hopefully we'll get some media coverage, television, newspaper, radio, and then that brings the awareness up, and then you begin to get interest in folks wanting to bring some funding to the project. Right now, nobody knows about it. We can't release that information until we get approval here tonight, so.
I was just asking if it would be possible to do a contingent upon raising the money by Monday and then sign the contract Monday. Is that?
By Monday, meaning?
The 14th, that's when they want the deposit.
It's in the corporate world, it's tough to raise money that quickly. I mean, right now, there's not even any awareness. I'm afraid if you put those kinds of constraints on the project, realistically, I would say that probably it's probably the chance of it getting off the ground is not good. I mean, you can do that if you want. Is Monday the absolute latest?
Well, that's what you said before.
Well, they said 2 weeks, so they told me Monday, not this past Monday, the Monday before, they said that they would need a contract signed to hold the dates for us. And then when the check has to be written. Like I said.
What about the civic committee? Don't we have Princetown Civic Committee? What kind of funds do they have?
That's a good point.
We just put $500 in there, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that in
You're
tonight?
right. No, that's, you're
Princetown
absolutely.
Civic Committee should be, this is the perfect thing, this is what we used to do with the civic committee funds, was put it towards things like this.
That's a good point.
It had a healthy balance at one point, and
At
it
how
would,
much?
I said it had a healthy balance
Yeah.
at one point, and that's historical and civic together.
There's a good amount in there.
What is, do you know what it is, Carl? It's got to be,
Budgeted 500 this year.
How much is it?
they've had movie night, how much was
I
that?
don't know what's in the fund, but it was just paid out, 500. today.
It's too bad Irma's not here. Her historical meshed that money in with the civic committee, and none, to my knowledge, none of that has been spent, because there's like one account but two different books. What's historical and one's civic?
It's got to be.
To my knowledge, nothing has been spent out of even historical. Now, can a Vietnam Mall be historical? Well, I think
Absolutely.
so. Yeah.
But I think that's where you would sign the down payment to go ahead and sign I think the civic committee right there.
At least to cover yourself, I mean, at least
To
to
put
cover
the down
that.
payment out, and then when it's, you know, if we fundraise all of it, then that person goes back with the civic committee. But civic committee can't sit on all that money without spending it. They just can't collect money and have it sit there year after year.
Well, then, that's a good point. What, is the board on, is the board, town board on board moving forward with this then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, before we make any decision, though, you said,
Well, there's a couple of terms of the contract that I want to discuss with you.
in terms of what you want to discuss.
Executive session, now, or do a motion to make the whole thing subject to this approval later. What order you want to do things?
How about some, we get the gist of it. I was wondering if there's any conflicts, or we want to separate account. Is there any conflict regarding the town getting into not-for-profit entities or something like that? Obviously, but I agree to the general idea of having this, and that we can meet the obligation of $7,500 for
Do you want to do a executive session now or after?
Well, that's one or two more things we could do before the executive session.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Just make the motion that it's subject, you're going to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract subject to the attorney approval.
Okay. Is that the way you want to?
Yeah, we can do that, but if you want us to discuss some of the terminology in the executive session, we'll do that right at the end.
Okay.
Anything further on this? Okay, just one other thing as far as council concerns. I gave each one of the board members a copy of this in regards to for our recyclable day. It was suggested maybe taking and having a can and bottle drive for Mr. Moe's project. I guess it's for senior dogs and stuff that, need special attention and so forth. So someone asked, they wanted to put this in the newsletter, and so they gave it to the board, wanted to just see if the board was okay with having that put in the newsletter. Okay, no problem? All right, so we'll give that to Mrs. Gavoldi after the end of the meeting. Okay, any other?
We need a motion for the wall.
Oh, we have a motion, yeah, no, I wasn't gonna go. But do we have a motion to go to executive
Why
session?
don't we do that first? Okay.
Well, no, I thought you said we were going to have a motion pending, how do you want to word it then?
Yeah, we would need a motion, somebody's got to make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract subject to attorney approval.
I'll make a motion that, what you just said.
I'll say.
Okay, so Lou and Doug second. Okay. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Okay, so anything further from the board members? Okay. Well,
Need a motion to go into executive.
yeah,
I'll make a motion to go in executive session to discuss this.
okay. We have a second? Second. Thank you all for coming, and remember our volunteer meeting is Monday night, 7 o'clock.